Are you a perfectionist? Okay, so here is why you need to get over that. But first, I'm just going to share a little bit of my story right now. So I used to be a perfectionist. I used to think that I had to have everything running smoothly, perfectly, and that I couldn't go on camera unless things were perfectly polished. I mean, I know you can see that I'm all kind of dressed up today, and that's because I am teaching a live workshop for the next 5 days inside of my Facebook group, the Empowered Birth Community. So if you or someone you know happens to be pregnant or planning your pregnancy or planning to become pregnant in the next little while, then send me a message or go and check out my new workshop. But I'm basically doing this to promote for my new book that I've written, that I still can't believe I've written a book. And I have some other things that I'm running right now. And the thing is that when you're a perfectionist, it stops you from actually getting started. And looking back on the last 2 years of what I've done and the people that I've now been blessed to call my friends and who support me and get me going and keep me accountable, like, it's just when you realize that the people that are waiting for you out there are more important than your own little hang-ups, you get out of perfectionism very quickly. So I don't know where I would be right now if I was still in perfectionist mode, if I was still waiting for everything to be perfect, because let me tell you, first of all, as a mom, nothing is ever, ever perfect. Like, take, for example, today, I had a plan like that. I'd basically scheduled my workshop because what gets scheduled gets done. And I'd had it set to be from the 19th to the 23rd. And I chose that specific time and date because I knew my kids were going to be in school. Well, the Queen passed away. And so our country decided to do something and create a national holiday for the day. And there was no school. So my plan, it didn't work out. It didn't work out because I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be able to not have my kids home. No kid interruptions is going to be perfect. I mean, the last Empowered Birth workshops that I ran last year, I would get constant kid interruptions because I was doing them at the wrong time. And I couldn't do that. I didn't want to do that anymore because the way I run my workshops is I teach actual courses. I record them at the same time, and then I let people test them like as a free thing, but then they can go and get the recordings later. And it's just like, boom, everything is streamlined. Everything is simple because one of the things that I do every year now is I set an intention at the beginning of the year instead of a New Year's resolution. That's basically what I want to create. And I wanted to add simplicity. And I wanted to add, what was it? I can't remember now. But simplicity was one of them. Simplicity was one. And I knew that I needed to simplify my life. I mean, as a mom, I needed that. And then I wanted to create things. I knew I wanted to do that too. So I decided that I was going to make recording courses as simple as possible. And that's when I came up with the idea to revamp the Empowered Birth workshops to do this. But I had kid interruptions with the last ones, and I thought I was going to have no kid interruptions. Well, then the kids were out of school today. So the workshop itself, like if I was a perfectionist, if I stayed in perfectionist mode, I would have been like, sorry, we're canceling the first day of the workshop. We'll have to teach it another day because nothing's ready, nothing's perfect. The kids are home. They're going to interrupt. It's not going to be perfect and polished. But because I happen to be part of this really amazing community, the virtual coach community, and like some things tend to go wrong, even on the live streams. Like sometimes my friend James, he ends up like we end up having like technical difficulties, and sometimes we've lost him. Like sometimes the Zoom screen will just go, and it's like, oh no, where did James go? But because we know where the value is in our community, we stay on. We stay on because we know James will come back on, and we know he's going to teach. And the same thing with Eben, and the same thing with Warren, and the same thing with Donald, even like in the masterminds, we have that, or Annie. Like we all have that. And Annie and Eben, they get the kid interruptions, and I get the kid interruptions, and it's okay. It's okay to not be perfect and polished. Because what your people are really looking for, or anything in your life, anything that you're trying to create value in, what they're looking for is the value that you create, not for you to be perfect. And when you're not perfect, you're actually more human. So I'm not perfect, and I will never be perfect. And I'm okay with never being perfect, because it's not about that. It's about continued growth. It's about that continued mindset. It's about the idea that you just feel the fear and you do it anyway. Get it done, get ahead, as my friend James tells us all the time. Like, I love his expressions sometimes, because it's so true. If you get it done, you get ahead. And if I'd waited for things to be perfect, my book wouldn't be done, my courses wouldn't be done. I wouldn't have what I have now that I'm so excited about, and I'm just going to double down on that. And same thing with my coaching. When I first started coaching my clients last year, I hadn't even gone through virtual coach yet. I didn't know if what I was doing was actually going to work. But I did it anyway. I faced the fear and I did it anyway. I'd never taught classes before, but Jenny said she wanted classes. And I was like, okay, you want to learn from me? Okay, we'll do this. We'll do this group class. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we'll just figure it out as we go. And it turned out to be this amazing thing that we were doing. So again, if you're staying stuck, if you're hiding, if you're not sure if something's going to work, do it anyway. Figure it out later. Like, this is something that, like, James Mel has also, like, he said this, like, James is just absolutely amazing. I'm so grateful to have him in my life, because, like, he gets it. And it was something that I had always kind of thought about in the back of my mind, but nobody else in my life was really telling me that that's what I needed to do. So, of course, that kept me stuck. So the next thing, of course, is you got to be around the right people. If the people in your life aren't lifting you up, if they're not telling you to face the fear and do it anyway, if they're instead saying, well, because you're afraid, you just shouldn't do it and stay small, don't listen to them. You got to go out and do it anyway. You got to be around those people who are action takers. Some of the most successful people that I'm now hanging around with in my life, who I just absolutely admire, they get scared all the time. They just do it anyway. So that's the secret. And I just really wanted to share that with you today, because, like, my gosh, like, this workshop, like, the day that I taught this workshop, and yeah, there were a lot of interruptions. There were moments when Michaela asked me to go and set up her iPad for her. There were moments when Hunter would come out of his room and try to ask me things. There were moments when Michaela would announce she had to go to the bathroom right in the middle of my live stream. I mean, can you imagine? But I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to do this, and I'm just going to edit it later. Whatever I need to edit out, I'll do that. That's fine. And I'm just going to teach. And, like, I love teaching. I loved doing that. It was just so much fun. And the moms who are going to catch the replay later are just going to be blown away by what I have done. And that's the other thing. If one or two people show up live, but the rest are catching the replays, that's okay too. So if you happen to have somebody, like, you're just starting out and you're like, well, nobody's watching, that's okay. That's okay. Because you know what? As you grow, your audience will grow. As you grow, people will find your old stuff. Like, people are finding my old fan fiction, my stories that I wrote. And they're like, you know, I just found your stuff and it's amazing. And it's like, I haven't written anything for over 10 years in that community. And I just started jumping back into it just because it's a passion of mine, and it's one of those little side passions. But it was like, oh my gosh, like the value that I created back then is still valuable now. So just do it. Just post the damn thing, as my friend Donald Stojak says. Just post it. Because then you're going to have that track record. And then people will be able to see what you can put out into the world. And I believe that we're here to share our gifts. So we're here to really share our gifts with the world. And however you do that, whether it's painting or speaking or writing or whatever it is that you have, something in your life that matters, that's going to help others, go out and share it. Because that's what we're really here for. We're here to make the world a better place. We're here to make the world a more wonderful place to live, where there's more value and there's more people lifting each other up. We don't have to be afraid to stand in our power. We don't have to be afraid to put ourselves out there. All right. I am so excited. I'm so stoked. I got to get onto Instagram now and get on a live and talk again about my workshop. And if you are currently pregnant or planning to be, or planning to grow your family in the next 2 years, then you're going to want to check this out, okay? It's the first 5 steps to an empowered pregnancy. It's based on my whole system that's going to be part of my book. And I'm also going and taking a deeper dive than what's in the book. Pass it on. All right, I'll see you soon.